Well, hello the new. It's only me, Leonard Wells, broadcasting as usual from Studio B here in the Giggle Mill in Haslingden, north of Manchester in the UK. Studio B is state-of-the-art studio and appropriately has as resident studio engineer none other than Adolf Apfelstrudel, that very sweet chap from Berchtesgaden in Bavaria, which is in Germany, you know. Adolf at one time was a top driver for the Automobile Association, what we call the AA. Unfortunately, he developed a drink problem, got the sack and joined Alcoholics Anonymous. So he was often referred to as AA from the AA, formerly with the AA from BB. He was a strict disciplinarian during the WAR, and he still is actually, because he refuses to allow me any more than 12 digital megaburgers per broadcast, which means I have to deny you the all-time thrill of seeing and hearing my world-famously forgettable rendition of Nessun Dorma. During the WAR, Adolf was gruesomely wounded, and I mean gruesomely, and he refuses steadfastly to appear on camera because he says it frightens the kids and he gets visits from the police in the night, kind of thing. So, but occasionally he will wave, wearing a glove over his war-wounded hand. And it's a big thrill and worth waiting for, and I always ask him, every time I appear on camera, I ask him, as most of you will know. Now he's just walked in, or should I say swayed in, because he's been on the you-know-what, down the you-know-where. And I'll ask him if he's interested in Adolf. Well, that's got his attention. Adolf, the audience, they're baying to see you wave today. Oh, he says he's not in the mood. He said he's feeling horsey, he's had a skinful. So we will return to our little ditty this afternoon, our little story, which concerns Beethoven. Well, that would be 3 o'clock, you know. It's these oats, they keep you as regular as a clock. And as many of you will know, when Beethoven died, there were between 10 and 20,000 people went to his funeral. Not many people have that many funeral guests, because, well, there wouldn't be room for a start, and most people couldn't afford to buy them all a meal afterwards. But he was so famous and people loved his music, and thousands upon thousands turned out. Anyway, after the funeral, early in the evening, after the crowds had gone, the gravedigger was just closing shop. He's putting his tools away, you see, when he heard these strange sounds coming from the new grave where Beethoven was buried, and he goes and he listens. He couldn't make head or tail of them. It's squeaky, squeaky. So he goes and asks the foreman, and he couldn't make head or tail either. And this went on until it got to the town mayor. And eventually the mayor came, and word got about that there were weird noises coming from Beethoven's grave. And hundreds of people came back to the cemetery, even though it was dark, and listened. Eventually, the mayor figured it out. He listened and he said, now, that is Beethoven's 9th symphony. And a little bit later he said, that is Beethoven's 8th symphony. And so it went on late into the night, that is Beethoven's 5th symphony. But they're all played backwards. So everybody says, oh, but Mayor, we don't understand. So he looked around and he said, well, it's quite simple to explain, really. He said, It's just Beethoven decomposing. Thank you and good night, folks.